wonders that you will see in the next couple hours. I remember you, Mike. I love you. Well done. I came back last night to the hotel at like midnight. There was a town camped out on the side. I look forward to the Comic-Con babies that will be born in about 9 months. And I want to have a special suck it to the guy who played on a loop Gangnam Style until 3 a.m. outside my hotel room. I don't know if for ironic reasons or because he thought it was cool, but screw that guy.
Sorry!
It's very exciting. We're going to do the first half of this panel is going to be the legendary films that are going to be released through Warner Brothers, and then we'll wrap that up, and then we'll go into the Warner Brothers films, and we're just going to jump right in. I'm so excited to show you the stuff that we have today. You guys, so let's get into the first part of it right now as I introduce to the stage. We're just going to start big. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jeff Bridges! Listen, you're Jeff Bridges. You can stay up here the entire time and watch all the footage you want. I would like to bring out the director and some of the other cast. Please welcome to the stage director Sergei Bodrov. Yeah. Obviously, you guys remember from Man of Steel, Ben Barnes, Kid Harrington. Welcome. How's it going? How you guys doing? Good. So let's start with you, Sergei. Just give people a little insight into what the story is. What's the story you're telling this episode?
First of all, I want to start with the Jeff, because we know that Jeff is the coolest dude on the earth.
Yes.
And it's a story about him.
Somebody stole this magical rug, he's trying to get it back. Give us a little bit of some of the details that you can tell people so they know what to expect.
Yeah, to know, of course, we want to keep secret, I don't know, the most interesting stuff, but I think it's a great story. Like Jeff, he is a witch hunter, and he is facing his enemy, but also his ex-lover, and it's a beautiful Julian movie. So, what?
That's good.
Yeah, that's good.
Antje, you people probably know you most recently as Fiora from Man of Steel.
It's been a great experience, Man of Steel. Yeah.
I mean, you went from not really doing Comic-Cons at all, now you're pretty much at all the cons because you sort of hit upon these films. How have these kind of epic, huge films been for you?
Wow, it was a roller coaster and I really enjoyed it. I mean, especially coming from Man of Steel, playing Fiora. Coming to this set, it was just the total opposite, to play Boney Lizzie. And I think it answered all my romantic questions as a girl, beautiful costumes, beautiful sets, and it's been beautiful.
Excellent.
Yes,
you could totally go out with those guys if you wanted to. Ben, tell us a little bit about your character. Tell us what his relationship is to Jeff's character and where he kind of lands in the movie.
I play a character called Tom Ward, who is a young pig farmer in the middle of nowhere in our mysterious land, and he knows that he's meant for something more in this world, but he doesn't know what that is. He just feels alienated and different, and Jeff's character, Master Gregory, who is this grumbling, wonderful fighter of the dark side, turns up one day at my house, and my mother figure knows that something's up, and I know that something's up, but I don't know what, and I get sold to him. for a small bag of gold. And I think it's very exciting until I realised that he's essentially going to treat me like a servant. Initially anyway, and you know, this great bond forms between the two of them over time, and together they have to band together to fight the forces of evil, which are combining as the blood red moon rises, and you know, it's good old-fashioned good versus evil with a few moral dilemmas thrown in.
And what was the experience like working with Jeff?
Yeah.
Right.
Honestly, I hadn't before I did it. I hadn't heard of him before, but when I got the job, I watched some of his movies and I realised that
he's done a few of them. Yeah.
No, of course. I mean, you know, a dream come true. I was here 2 years ago, and we couldn't answer any of the questions because we hadn't done anything or seen anything. I didn't know anything, and every question that I was asked when I watched back the video, rather embarrassingly, was because Jeff Bridges is in it. But he is in it, so who's that?
I'm glad, because you played that really well when you were like, I'd never seen his movies before. I could feel the air go, what?
No, the man is my idol, and is even more now, even more so now.
Kit, where do you fall into the story? Where do you fall into the story?
I love our Kit.
Oh, we all love him, stop it! Where do you fall into the story, and how do you like these kind of like epic period pieces?
So I'm Jeff's long-term, long-suffering apprentice.
Favorite.
Yeah. And you meet me at the start of the film, and I kind of like, I've grown good at what I do, but maybe not good enough. Yeah, it's kind of, I'm sort of in a very exciting action-packed sequence.
Yeah.
At the top of the movie.
I just have to ask you, for you, Kit, like, just where you normally shoot where you shoot Game of Thrones, with this, you're sort of isolated. You're out, you know, in the middle of the world shooting, and then you get to come here and sort of feel like what that has led to. What has that experience been like for you, the trend, like in the last couple of years?
I think I've definitely suffered as far as locations are concerned. On this movie, I was under a rain tower for like 7 full days, which is, and then on Thrones, I'm in the middle of Iceland in -35, so it's not the most comfortable of shooting experiences, but it's incredible coming onto this movie and seeing what a legendary production is, and how much care and frankly money and everything they put into these things, and it's been a great experience being involved in it.
Excellent. I want to open the floor up to questions, so we make sure we have time for audience questions after all the panels are up here. So go ahead and turn on the spotlight, and let's bring in the first question. Step forth.
The spotlight.
Quickly. This
Be
way.
brave.
No one has a question? All right.
Okay, bye.
Oh wow, you just pissed someone off. Seriously? Here comes someone. As we're sort of, well, it's early in the morning. Some people slept on concrete. Oh, here they come. Here they come. Good morning.
Oh, good morning. Thank you for being patient while I come up.
Of course.
And thank you so much for being here. My question is for Jeff Bridges. Okay, you and I are probably about the same age.
I see where this is going.
And it looks like there's a lot of physical action in this movie. How tough was that for you?
Yeah, it was kind of tough, you know, but it's kind of fun. It kind of, brings you back to your, being a kid. A lot of, for me anyway, a lot of acting really gets down to being advanced pretend. You know, like when you were a kid, remember how much fun it was to pretend to do things? It's basically what acting is all about, except you got all the cool kids and you got the gear and, you got people to teach you how to do those moves. You know, we had some wonderful stunt coordinators on there. You know, they really helped out.
If there was any crowd where you could be like, you know how when you're pretending, everyone's like, yeah, we know, we're all... we talked about this before. You'd said there's this whole other layer of acting now with like CG and special effects, and that you're basically in green pajamas a lot of the time.
Yeah, you know, in this one, I think the trick with these big movies like this and the special effects that are used are marrying the CGI, you know, the green screen and being in leotards and all the black dots and everything, marrying that with actually practical, you know, amazing things, you know, and we did a lot of that in this film. We had a wonderful special effects supervisor, John Dystra, who was, well, he won.
I like him so much, I'm actually dating his daughter. That's true.
No kidding, man. Oh, well,
that's what a huge fan of his I am.
John Dystra. Yeah. He won the Academy Award for what? For Iron Man 2, didn't he?
He won a Star Wars award.
Oh yeah.
Her parents' first date was to Star Wars Academy Award, so he was in.
But anyway,
but they look great. Yeah, the effects look great. And Sergey, what was the balance of special effects to practical effects to?
I think it was right. I don't know proportions, because for me, of course, it was most ambitious project. My biggest was a big school, a lot of special effects, but still we love kind of physical stuff. And Jeff, of course, he did a lot of stuff himself. But special effects, you know, when you're recreating these monsters, yeah, you know, it's like big deal.
Excellent. Next question, yes.
Hello.
Hi.
Yes, this is a cool hat. I would like to know the challenges of directing CGI and live action.
Okay. Yeah, so just building a little bit on the last point, what are some of the challenges when you're marrying practical and CG?
You know, for me it's kind of the same challenge, I don't know, but when you have a really good actor like a Jeff or Ben Barnes and all my crew, for me it's most important to get from them emotions, just forget about CGI, because CGI it's a second for me. Like first, it's an actor, it's a face, it's emotions, it's action, physical action. So for me, most important actors, and CGI is a second.
That's a good answer. So he builds it around the performances. Yes, ma'am. Thank you for your question. What is your question, ma'am?
Hi. First of all, I want to say hi to everyone, and thanks for coming. My question is for the whole panel. There seems to be a lot of action, drama, emotion, a bit of a love story. What's the most challenging part for you?
Let's start with that too. What's the most challenging part, the action stuff or any of the love stories?
Well, after playing Fiora, you know, it was quite, for me, Seventh Son, I mean, we had a couple fight scenes, of course, and I really enjoyed, you know, embracing the idea of having like 2 swords, and you just start to play around with this, and you know, I can turn into an owl in that character. So I actually enjoyed it. You know, it is always a challenge, but particularly in this movie, fighting with this beautiful dress, that was quite something, because it is heavy and it is quite how can I say,
feathery.
Thank you, Ben. It's feathery.
Does it add, Ben, does all the action stuff add a different, I mean, I'm sure if you're in drama school, you're studying theater, it's, you know, how much combat are you doing, you know, in that, and what does this do to add an extra layer?
I didn't have to do it in a feathery dress, so I had that to start with. I mean, as Jeff was saying, we had a wonderful stunt team who would choreograph. I mean, we went up weeks and weeks early and would choreograph these, you know, fight scenes, and you know, have to learn to fight. Well, you know, had some experience with sword fighting, but we were doing, you know, fighting with staffs and like knife throwing, and you know, obviously bringing in all the kind of alchemy and magic that are in the stories as well. So we're trying to make, you know, the fight sequences a little bit different. I think physically the harder challenges than the actual fighting are, you know, when you have to do something that is written in the script. Oh, you know, Tom climbs the metal chain up to the rafters, and you think, on paper that sounds fine, but that kind of thing is like, you don't realize that trying to climb up a metal chain, you're going to scrape your hands off, and you can't pull up your own body weight more than 10 times, and you know, that kind of stuff is challenging, but you know, it's also the action stuff is what's fun about these films too. You know, it can be really fun. I think that the harder thing for me is probably, you know, trying to keep track of where you are in the story, and luckily we have, you know, a great director in Sergei who can kind of talk you through where you've just come from and where you're going, because the scene before the scene that you're shooting, you might have shot it 4 months ago. So just, you know, kind of keeping track of your sort of character through lines in sort of these long shoots is probably the trickiest thing for me.
Excellent. And then for Kit, just because, you know, the last few years, obviously you're not a stranger to action role, but how much does the physical part of the character inform who the character becomes for you?
Very much in this movie, it did, and the harder aspects of it were certain stunts that we had to get right and do, and I had to do a wire pull, which I'd never done before, which is where they basically attach this harness to your back and then tell you, are you going to feel a light tug?
Which sounds awesome.
Which sounds great, yeah. And it's not a light tug, but it's, I don't know, it's, I really enjoy the physical aspect of this work that we do, and I find it's an incredibly exciting thing to do, so I really enjoy the action roles, so the harder things to do are also the best things to do.
Yeah. Okay, I think maybe
can I answer that question?
You can do whatever you want.
Go back. No, for me, the challenge, you know, basically all of us up here were storytellers, right? And so the big challenge for me was telling the story. And Sergei and I, you know, we talked about it quite a bit, and I ran across a wonderful quote that I'm going to read you now that kept me on track, man, and it's one of his countrymen, Solzhenitsyn quote. And this is kind of what the movie was all about to me, and I was hoping that we would serve this passage. It's a quote of Solzhenitsyn. Am I pronouncing that right?
Yes, absolutely.
It says, if only it were so simple, if only there were evil people somewhere insidiously committing evil deeds, and it were necessary only to separate them from the rest of us and destroy them. But the line dividing good and evil cuts through the heart of every human being. And who is willing to destroy a piece of his own heart? Yeah? You know, and that's what's exciting about being in the you know, in the movies, and what you guys are digging about you know, watching these movies, this idea of imagination. You know, how bizarre that you know, in this cruel kind of world, nature can be very cruel, but human beings have been given this evolutionary gift of imagination, you know, and we can use this imagination to dream of peace, you know, which is, you know, kind of a bizarre thing, and that's kind of our task. It's in my task anyway, as a filmmaker, to realize this dream and make stories about, you know, realizing peace. And it's a struggle, you know. It's we have to learn that lesson over and over and over again. You know, it's kind of like the lesson of, I know, for me personally, you know, drinking too much. How many times do you learn the hangover lesson, man? Come on.
Think about 7,000 times here.
But anyway, that was the most challenging thing, to keep on the line of telling that story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Top that every other panel. We have time for one more question, sir. What is it?
Yes. Well, first off, I just wanted to make a general comment to Jeff Bridges. You're one of my favorite actors. You elevate every movie you're in, and I think that your charity work is absolutely fantastic, so good job. My question is for the panel. because, as you mentioned, this is based on myth, and in Gaelic culture, the seventh son of the seventh son is gifted with second sight. And I just wanted to know, in what way is this story going to remain faithful to that mythology, and in what way is it going to stand apart from it?
It's probably a question for Sergey. How close to the myth of the seventh son do you want to say, and how much did you add?
No, I think it's pretty close, but of course we're taking some liberties, and you will see the movie and you will judge.
There you go, see it and find out. Good note. Please help me in thanking the cast and director of Seventh Son. Still got goosebumps, Mike? That's good. Let us switch out the cards a little bit for the next panel. We'll do this a handful of times today. This is the fun part where the momentum dies for a second.
Chris, you're hot!
Let's do Craig Ferguson, just awkward. Oh, that.